Hello everybody. Today we are stitching on the Bella Filipina, the Mermaids of the Season SAL, and the final one is out, so I am finishing that up and I'm currently working on the skin. I've got all of her tail done here, and I've had a sort of a crap week, to be honest. A lot of things are going on. Damon had to go last Tuesday to his ear specialist the whole way down in Pittsburgh. I know I've told you guys before that he had a cholesteatoma in his ear, and that every single year he has to go and have that checked done. I'm going to grab a drink here of tea. Still too hot. But, and we went down there, and Damon gets a CAT scan done tomorrow now, because when we were down there, they saw something weird in his ear, and his doctor isn't 100% sure whether or not it's some sort of skin scarring around his eardrum, or if it's the cholesteatoma returning. So he will get a CAT scan done at 7:30 tomorrow morning, and that'll all get sent down to his doctor's office, and hopefully they can, let's just cross our fingers that it's nothing and it's not a big deal, and that's that, because I really can't handle any more unfortunate news. I've had enough for this week. And then Friday, Abigail had her appointment with her eye specialist. I don't think I've talked about this a whole lot, but Abigail has exotrophia, which a lot of people will comment and say that she has a lazy eye. And no, a lazy eye turns inward. She has exotrophia, which means it turns outwards. And I have been noticing it turning out again for about a year. And she went in June for her normal yearly checkup to make sure everything is still fine. And he couldn't get it to shift. So he scheduled her another appointment to be the last appointment of the day, because when she went, she had only been awake for about an hour and a half, and her condition happened. The eye will turn outwards more when her eyes are fatigued and tired and has been awake for a while. And so he scheduled her for the very last appointment of the day to see if he could get it to shift and move. And I mean, we were in that office for maybe once we actually got to the doctor, he saw her for maybe, I mean, I don't even think he was in the room for 5 minutes before he was like, ah, yes, I completely see it now. And part of me felt relieved, because there was a chance that the first surgery she had wouldn't be 100% effective and keeping that eye straight. But I had just noticed that even when she was just looking at me, that one eye wasn't even lined up right with the other eye, which it's never been that way, and slowly noticing it going out and things like that. And but I just felt like maybe I was paying too close attention and I was seeing things that weren't actually there. But I felt encouraged because, like, she's telling me, that her friends are noticing it, that her teachers have made comments, and that I'm not the only person seeing this. My sister had also saw it and things like that. And it's just kind of, reassuring to know that, like, I'm not the only person that's noticing it. But sure enough, he got that eye to shift, and it was pretty significant. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I can see that." He's like, "I don't even need all the tools to be like, yep, see exactly what's going on here." So it was encouraging, but at the same time, I never want any of my kids to have surgery again. But Abigail is going to have surgery again. The good news is that, well, for both Damon and Abby, Damon's ear specialist had said that if it is the cholesteatoma right now, because the first two surgeries he had to remove the cholesteatoma and then do the stapes implant was pretty invasive. They had to go, it couldn't be done through the ear because his tumor had grown down into his throat, and it was pretty bad. In fact, we got lucky that it didn't take him out, because it was that far advanced. And keep in mind, I had been fighting with doctors around here for, I don't even know, because he woke up the one day, and Damon's always had trouble with his ears. So, like, he literally, like, woke up and said that day, like, "Mom, my ear hurts." And with him, like, the moment he says his ear hurts, I know it's like a full-blown ear infection. So I immediately called his doctor, got him in that day. They looked in and was like, something doesn't look right in here, and sent us to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Of course, I think we got like 2 doctor's appointment in right before like COVID hit, and everything went insane. So we went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, an ENT, and that was around here. And he just kind of like fiddle farted around, and it was probably like, I don't know, how long did we go there? They went to do a surgery on him. He had a polyp in his ear, to remove the polyp out of his ear, and then put tubes in. And then, so that was his first surgery that he had done. Well, that was before he even had the full cholesteatoma and everything else removed out of his ear. But it was, I don't even know how to describe it, besides, like, we went to that doctor for about 3 months before it was like every 2 weeks or so we were going in, and he was giving us another set of drops and sending us home, and giving us another set of drops and sending us home. And Damon was like, he was in so much pain that even chewing hurt. So he was like losing a lot of weight. We're talking like in the 3-month span, like, he's already a small kid. Like, at that point in time, I think he was like 90 some pounds at like 14 years old. And he had dropped down to like 80 pounds. And I was like, no, like, there's something like seriously wrong. And it's not like it was, of course he was underweight already, but he wasn't extremely unhealthy yet, because he was like 4'11". Like, this poor kid, he was finally starting to grow, thank God. But he was just he's always just been very tiny. And but I noticed that he was losing a significant amount of weight, and there was gunk coming out of his ear. And I have chronic ear problems, I have hearing loss in my left ear and stuff from really bad ear infections growing up. So when it comes to having gook and stuff like that, like, I knew this stuff that was coming out of his ear was not the same as what he had previously had. He's not acting the same. Like, I knew something was thinking wrong, and this doctor was just kind of like brushing me off and acting like I didn't know what I was talking about. So I hate to admit it, but I was essentially kind of like a Karen, but more or less I was a concerned mother that, like, you're not listening to me. And I tend to get that a lot, more so with Damon than the girls, because with Damon, I was 17 years old when I had him, so I was a teen mother. So a lot of the times these doctors and stuff won't take me seriously because I'm quote unquote too young to be a mother of a parent that age, which shouldn't really matter because at that time I was like 30 years old. I'm pretty sure I knew what the heck I was talking about. I was probably like, like 30, 31. So, but I mean, I threw a fit. There's no other way to put it. I threw one heck of a fit and demanded that we see somebody else. And they gave us like a couple different options, and there was 2 other doctors close to us that we could have went to see, but like, I live in a very, very small town. I think there might be like 3,000 people that live in this town total. But anyways, most of the doctors around here don't have good reputations. Where am I at? Okay. And I said no to everybody around here, and forced my son's pediatrician to send us to a ear specialist in Pittsburgh. And I'm glad I did, because that ear specialist literally took one look at his ear and was like, yeah, this is what your son has, and it's pretty severe. And we had already gotten a CT scan, and that doctor was supposed to send it down to this doctor's office, and they never did. And like, it's just a whole thing. And issues with our doctors and our hospitals around here, because they're so overwhelmed and stuff. And then a lot of times you get doctors who they just don't listen to you at all. But yeah, so I had to throw a big giant stink. But anyways, Damon's ear doctor had said that the good news is that if he would have to have surgery again, it wouldn't be as invasive and as long as recovery from his first surgery, because if it is the cholesteatoma right now, and if like they're looking into it immediately, and he's like, right now, like, it's very, very tiny. So he said we would actually be able to go in through just his ear and remove it that way. So it wouldn't be going, and basically they had to go through behind his ear. He has a gnarly scar back there, and basically take that ear off his face and flap it over to the front of his face, and go in and cut through the skull and everything else in order to get rid of all of that tumor. So, I mean, this time it would be, he's like, you know, it probably wouldn't even, I mean, his first surgery to remove that tumor was over 5.5 hours long. And it was supposed to be over only max of 2 hours surgery. But because it was so bad, the surgery ended up taking a lot longer than it was supposed to. And I am screwing up. This doesn't go here. So that's kind of reassuring. And then along with Abby's surgery, the last time she had to have the surgery done, she had to have the surgery done on both eyes, and her surgery wasn't very long. It was, I think maybe she was back there for like 45 minutes before she was out and we could head home. But with that surgery, because it's the eyes, it was both eyes, there was no way to cover anything. So she had to stay quarantined in a room, and everything had to be cleaned a specific way and done in a specific way, so that way she didn't run the risk of getting an eye infection. And this time he's like, we would only have to do surgery in the one eye, which is the eye that's being affected this time, instead of both eyes. And why aren't you marking off? It wouldn't be as intensive of a surgery, and we still would have to, you know, obviously keep things like clean and stuff. But she would be able to wear essentially a patch over that eye to help protect it, and it's not as a pain in the butt. But I'm gonna grab a drink of tea here. Move that slightly out of my way. So yeah, so one child I'm waiting for her Abby's eye doctor's her eye specialist's office to call and let us know well, to schedule her for her eye surgery, because he said, you know, we can do it now, but she'd be out of school for at least a week. And Abby is a straight A student, and school for her is like, she loves going to school. It's her thing. She loves being with her friends and everything else and stuff. And I was like, no, I don't want to mess with the school year. And he's like, well, it's not like this is gonna, he's like, it might get a little worse, but you know, you have to come in a week before your surgery anyways and get it checked, so we can measure everything then, so it's not that big of a deal. If you want to wait until, you know, the summer, that's fine, and things like that. So I was like, yeah, let's go. Her school always ends the first week. Sometimes be very, as long as we don't have too many snow days and stuff. Her school will end, you know, somewhere at the very beginning of June. So I was like, you know, let's shoot for the very beginning of June. If she misses the last 2-3 days of school, I don't really care, because she's not going to be allowed to swim for like a month or two. I don't know. I can't remember what he said at this point. So, you know, and we love to go swimming and things like that. So I want to make sure that whatever is going to happens so that way her entire summer isn't ruined with not being able to do anything like she was the first time she had her surgery, because we weren't able to get in until the end of June, and by the time she was able to swim, it was sometime at the end of August, and it was hit or miss on what days you could swim. And that, as a mom, like, breaks your heart when you see one of your kids, you know, just chilling out up there on the beach while the rest of you are, you know, either in a lake or in a pool swimming because she's not allowed. So I just, they should be calling me any time now to get that scheduled, so that way she's won't have a screwed up summer. And June for us is hit or miss on whether or not it's gonna be warm enough out to really actually swim. Like, well, it really depends on, like, springtime and stuff like that, on whether or not it's the, like, if we have a warm enough spring, usually the water because we have a lot of lakes and stuff we go and we swim at. And if it's warm enough out, that water will be warmer. Otherwise, it can be ice cold. A lot of the time, some of the lakes have water that's coming down off mountains and stuff, and that stuff there is freezing cold, no matter what time of year it is. But anyways, I went, and there's another thing that happened with poor Miss Abby Friday. So she went to school that day, and it was because I needed her eyes. One, her appointment wasn't until 4 o'clock. There was no reason for her to miss an entire day of school when her appointment is after school ends. But because it's a little over an hour drive to get there, we had to pick her up at 2:30, which is like, I'm not even sure what time that school lets out anymore. I think it's 3, like a half hour before it needs to be let out or whatever. And, but I also needed her eyes fatigued. So I needed her reading and focusing and doing all kinds of things during the day to make them as fatigued as possible for this kid. So that way he could get an accurate reading on what was going on with her eyes. So we made sure she went to school. Well, apparently they scheduled a fire drill for that day, and it was in the evening. Literally everything that I'm getting ready to tell you happened approximately like 10 minutes before I showed up. So I get to the school, and something's wrong with their buzzer to let you into the like the security in our schools now are. I'm glad our school has had the funding to get all the security measures that it does, because it's like Fort Knox trying to get into that gosh darn school. But the buzzer to even get you essentially onto the property of the school, there's something going on with it. And I mean, it took us a good minute to get them to, and then you guys can't even see what I'm doing. It took a good, where am I even at in this pattern right now? Okay. Because the buzzer, I guess, isn't working right, and they don't have somebody coming to fix it until, sometime next month. But anyways, it took us a while to get onto the property, and then once you get on the property, there's, a security guard that checks you over, and then you're allowed to approach towards the actual school building. And then we get there, and I get there, and I go to get into the school, and it seems, I don't know what's going on with their buzzers, but there's a 3-step process before you can even go into the school. You got to do the buzzer there to get onto the property. And then once you're onto the property, there's, and you're allowed to, you get checked out by the security guard. I guess it's technically 4. And then you can approach the school, and then you have to press a buzzer for them to get you inside the school. And you have 70 million cameras aimed at you. And you're not allowed to bring, unless you're a student, you're not allowed to bring a purse or anything like that. No carrying anything, nothing. I'm glad we have that kind of security, because it makes me feel a little better about the kids going to school and stuff like that. But, America and the issues we have. But anyways, so you have to press another button, and it will let you into another little room, and there's another security guard there, and they check and make sure that you don't, if you do have a bag or anything like that, everything has to be left there at the security station, because you have to go back out the same way that you came in anyways, so you can pick that stuff up there. And you have to, of course, have your ID and everything else to prove that you're the parent of the child that you're coming to get, and the reason why you're there at school, and blah de blah de blah. And then once you clear that, you have to buzz yourself again to the main office, and like, you have to state like every reason why, like, you're there and what you're doing there. Like, it's kind of, I think it's crazy, but at least I know, like, our kids are pretty well protected in that school. And then so once you get into the office, though, like, you're not allowed to leave the office. Like, you couldn't even go through the school if you wanted to. So once you get into the office, that's when that you finally get to sit down, and they bring your child down to you. So I'm sitting there, and next thing I know, what am I doing here? I just screwed up somewhere. This is where I gotta mark off some stitches. Come on. So I have a full 2 rows that need to be taken out. So anyways, I was saying, they brought Abby down, but it was the nurse that was with her. And that was odd. So, and the nurse was like, come in here. And we went into another room, and she was like, hey, we just had a fire drill. And, Abby and her teacher were together. And, I guess when she unlocked the door for the kids to get into the classroom, somehow Abby and her teacher's legs got tangled up, and Abby fell. And it, of course, was her screwed up leg that got tangled up with the teacher's. The one with the funky knee right now. So I was like, okay. And then that's, of course, whenever I was like, she was like, you know, I gave Abby some ibuprofen, and Abby, you could see that she was crying, and she was pretty upset and things like that. So, you know, I was like asking her, like, you know, did you feel any crunching or anything in your knee? Like, you know, what did it feel like? You know, tell me what it felt like, so I have an idea of what we're dealing with here. And she was like, no, I didn't feel any of this, I didn't feel any of that. But she's clearly in pain. And the nurse was like, she said she's on like a 4 or a 5 to pain level. And I said, I understand that, but she has an extremely high pain tolerance. So what normal people would think and be rolling around on the ground with, she's still standing and being like, that kind of hurts. And she's like, oh. And I was like, yeah. So I was like, if she's telling you that something hurts, like, I know it hurts. There is no question in my mind that whatever she's saying isn't, it's not that she's not being truthful. It's just for her, that's how it feels. So I was just like, I guess it's a good thing you have a knee doctor appointment Tuesday, because something isn't, you know, she was walking weird on her leg and everything else. So we took the brace. The brace that she has on now, you can lock it straight and things like that. So I locked it straight, and did my best to get her out and into the car. And then she was sitting down with it and stuff, and you know, I got her to call, and she's like, Mom, I'm gonna have to have surgery. I know it. I know I'm gonna have to have surgery. And I was like, is that why you're so upset right now? Or are you upset right now because, like, your knee hurts really, really bad because you're, like, scaring me here? Or is it because you're worried that you're going to have surgery? And she's like, I'm worried because I'm going to have surgery. And I was like, okay. I was like, let's calm down here for a minute. We have no idea what they're going to say. Let's not go to worst case scenario right now. Because at that point, she was bending it without any pain, and where she was saying she was having pain was higher up on her thigh, And I'm like, that wouldn't cause knee pain. Like, that's not knee pain. That sounds like you're hurting because your brace, when you fell, slammed into your leg pretty hard. And, it's metal. That would hurt. And she was like, okay. And I got her reassured, and I got her laughing, and got her calmed down. But then, as the day went on, there was more swelling in the knee, and it's just not looking pretty. And we will go tomorrow, because why not make 17 million appointments in one day, Brittany? Why not, make yourself run from one place to the next all day long with all these stinking appointments, And we'll go tomorrow and see what he thinks. I'm betting he's probably going to order another set of x-rays and everything else to see what the heck's going on. But I've touched her knee, and where she's saying she's having pain now is the spots where the tendons are in her knee. So I'm pretty worried that we might be starting back from square one again with a stinking knee. And I'm hoping not, because when she bears weight on that leg is when she's hurting. She's like, if I'm sitting down, she's like, I can bend it and do whatever I want to it when I have no pain. But the moment I'm standing and I'm bending and doing that stuff, that's when I have pain. And I was going to tell her this morning, I forgot last night, to tell her to take her one crutch with her and use the one crutch to help take weight off that stinking knee, and I forgot. Because that's just how my week is going. So yeah. Abby might be starting back from square one with her knee, and if it did jar it enough, the doctor already told her, like, there is no ands, ifs, or buts. It would be surgery this time. And I hope not, because then that poor kid would have 2 surgeries in a short amount of time, and that's just not fair. So, I guess we will wait and see. And that should be all the skin. No, don't do that. That's not what I'm asking you to do. This stinking thing. Thank you. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I have Cam down here. She's snoring so hard. All right. So, yeah. I'll have another drink of tea here. So, 7:30 in the morning, I have Damon going to get his CAT scan, or not his CAT scan, his CT scan done. And then Abby will go to her knee doctor. And there's so much crap going on right now that I'm stressed out. And I ended up, because of the stress, I ended up getting a stress migraine last night. And I was taking all my migraine pills and everything else. And then doesn't my sister call, because I was supposed to get Vincent today, but it should have been around about 12:30 or so that I would have got him. Well, I guess it wasn't even really my sister. It was my brother-in-law that called and was like, hey, I have to work earlier. I have to work day shift tomorrow. Can you take Vincent overnight? And I'm like, sure can. I mean, I don't necessarily want to, but, where else is the poor little dude to go? Like, he's comfortable coming to Aunt Nittany's house, and that's because, he comes here the most. And anywhere else, he's very uncomfortable with it. So, of course I wasn't going to make my nephew go and be, subjected to a place he's not familiar with. So I got Vincent last night. And then, of course, when I got here, he had fell asleep in the truck. So that required, my sister, like, tried to run him up the stairs and lay him down because he got here about 8:30. And that didn't work. He woke up. So I'm, like, thinking, oh, my God, this kid isn't going to go to sleep. But thankfully, he sort of threw a fit whenever they left, but he hasn't done that in a little while, so I was kind of surprised. And I think it was just, you know, he was tired. And, you know, he's waking up and being switched from one place to one person, and, you know, his mommy and his daddy, who's, you know, number one. And then there's me, Aunt Nittany, who's, you know, swooping in and taking him. So in my brain, I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is going to be a horrible nightmare. But thankfully, he was really snuggly, and I was able to just bring him over to the couch with me and snuggle with him and pat his butt and rub his back and play with his hair and get him to actually fall right back to sleep. It didn't take me long to actually get him to fall back to sleep, and got him in bed. So I currently have Vincent upstairs right now. You guys can't see what I'm doing again. And, so yeah. But thankfully, I was able to take all that medication, and then as soon as I had him asleep enough, I grabbed me a snack, and I was starving. I shouldn't have ate that late at night, but I did anyways, and then got him right upstairs and into bed, and I went out like a light myself. So good news is he went to sleep pretty gosh darn easily, and I got him back to sleep. But it just means it's a little more chaotic for me, because instead of having him like a day and a half, I will have him for 2 full days. And that means I'm not going to get as much stitching done as I normally do. And then normally I would have this pretty much finished, because this came out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This is day 4 on this, and normally I would have this pretty much almost finished at this point, because it's 9 something in the morning with our Christmas tree up now. Like the glare from the Christmas tree reflects against the clock over there, and I can't see it very well. And I took the scenic route. Now I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, yes I do. I remember now. I found my way back home. But normally like I said, I would have this finished. But Friday, it was Fridays are the days we go over to Grandma Joanne's. So I didn't even open this last pattern up until late Friday evening. How many do I need to go up? A whole one. It should be somewhere around here. I'll have to check that. But, so yeah, like, I didn't even open this sucker up. 2, 3, 4, up 1, yep. And really look at it until late in the evening, because we like to be over at Grandma Joanne's by 11 o'clock. And help her do anything she needs to do. 1, 2, 3, up 1. 1, 2, 3. So I didn't even really get any time to stitch on this, because we left to go over to Grandma Joanne's, like I said, at We left here probably about 10:30 or so. Yep. And then I just stuck this in the wrong spot. I'm glad I'm paying attention right now. Goes here. Yep. So we left and went over to Grandma Joanne's, and we were there. And we had to leave Grandma Joanne's. We left there probably about 2 o'clock or so because we had to go and pick up Abby. And then went the whole way down to, left from her school, went the whole way down to her appointment. We didn't even get back home. It was like 6:30 or so that we got home. Pretty sure, somewhere around then. And because we had to stop somewhere and get dinner and everything else because it was already, we usually eat dinner at 5 o'clock. So everybody at our house was like starving because dinner was already late. 1, 2. So, like, so by the time I got home, I was able to upload the pattern and get it onto Pattern Keeper. It's not fully compatible with Pattern Keeper. Like, I can't search the symbols and, like, it's everything else, but I can at least read the pattern because if I try and print it off, it's so light and you can't see it. It's worthless. But, so yeah, I got, we got home pretty late and I got all that stuff set up. I got it pulled out. I got it put back on its frame, on a scroll frame. Did all that stuff. And I think I might have stitched for an hour at that point before it was time to go to bed. And I went to bed. And then Saturday is my cleaning day. So I go through like the whole entire house, dust the whole entire thing, vacuum everything, sweep everything, mop everything, wipe down stuff, do laundry, you know, if like the refrigerator needs cleaned out, we clean out the refrigerator. If the stove needs cleaned, microwave, you know, dishwasher, if anything needs cleaned, like a deep clean, that stuff all gets done on Saturday. So I was doing all that, and by the time I sat down here to stitch, I was so exhausted from, like I said, like I had how many appointments last week with all my kids? A bunch. So like I was just tired, and I think I may have stitched maybe 2-3 hours max before I was like, yep, I've had enough. I'm going to bed. And then yesterday, my husband and I, we went grocery shopping, got all the grocery shopping done. And then once we got grocery shopping done, he wanted to go out to eat for lunch. So then we went out to eat for lunch. And of course, you know, it couldn't have been somewhere real local. No, he wanted to go and sit down in a restaurant that's 30 minutes away from our house. Which, whatever, you know, at least, you know, he wants to spend time with me. But, sorry I bumped you guys. I'm just marking off stitches over here, so they are taken out of commission. Nope, not that one, that one. Okay. I need to move this. Like, there, that's better. So yeah, he wanted to go and do that, and then we went and we did that. Well, he's been complaining about this. I don't know. I'm wondering if he has like something is going on, because if he, honestly, it sounds like tendonitis to me. But when he goes to lift anything up with his right arm, let me see if, like, you know, you got your hand here, it comes up here to your elbow. He's complaining of pain here, like real bad pain here, especially when he's lifting something, and then on up and into his bicep. And like, it's only getting worse and worse, and he's like it hurts pretty bad. Like, I am having a hard time, you know, holding anything in my hand. He's like, even you just laying your hand on that area, like, it hurts. So I was like, okay, let's take you to Q Care and have them check you out, because something's going on. That's not normal. Something is seriously going on. And he argued with me for a minute, and I was just like, listen, you've had it now for 2 weeks. It's not getting any better. It's only getting worse. It's like, if you have tendonitis, like, I think that's what it is. The only way to get it to go away is to get your hand in a brace to immobilize it, so that way, you know, it stops continuing to make that area more inflamed and irritating it. So I finally got him to agree that he would finally go, and we go to the Q Care, and it's closed. It's not supposed to be closed, but it is. It's not open. So I was like, okay. And he's like, well, now what? It's like, well, you don't have any other choice but to go to the ER. And he's like, okay. So we went over to the ER, and we were there for like 2.5 hours. This is all before we went out to eat. And my neck's been bothering me lately. I don't know what the heck it is, but it's just been bugging me lately. And I'm like sitting there in these stupid waiting chairs, and we get processed in, where they go and they take your weight and your blood pressure and everything else, and they give you your little band and do all that fun stuff. And they stick you in. It's a second waiting room is what it is. But there's no nurse, nothing for anybody to talk to you. You're literally in this little room with a bunch of other people, you know, sitting in chairs. So you can't ask anybody. And we're back there, and I mean, I don't know how long we sat in those chairs, for a really long time, before he was like, nope, I've had enough. He's like, we're waiting until 1 o'clock, and then we're out of here. He's like, I'm not sitting here all day long. He's like, it's stinking ridiculous. The whole point of them opening that stupid Q Care was so that way, you know, this ER doesn't get freaking backed up. He's like, but every time when you go over there, it's never freaking open. He's like, the Q Care is always thinking closed. And he's like, and it's, you know, normal business hours. They're supposed to be open, but they're always closed. And I said, Ray, I was like, it's probably just, you know, a staffing shortage. Like, everywhere's struggling to get staff. And, you know, but at this point, you know, he's pretty stinking annoyed because he's been sitting here forever. We're both hungry. Neither one of us, like the geniuses that we are, had ate anything yet that day. And then he was like, nope, I'm done. And, like, I mean, he was pretty freaking upset and stuff. And I told him, I said, listen, I was like, if it's not going to kill you for another day, I said, why didn't you say so? I said, you could have we can just call your doctor tomorrow when they open. I said, you have off Tuesday, you know, just, these are the times the kids' appointments and stuff are. Call your doctor, have them make you an appointment for Tuesday. I said, they'll send you down, they'll give you the stupid crap to go down to the hospital and get all the freaking x-rays and everything else that they're going to want of your stupid arm. And, you know, something it'll probably take you max an hour and a half to freaking do everything versus sitting, you know, at the ER for 700 years. But I can understand his point, too, because he had to go to work today, and, like, you know, he's the kind of work he does requires, it's kind of like construction, but not quite construction. He works for, it's called community action, where they go in and they help struggling families with, reducing their monthly bills, in a sense of like, if they need more insulation or new windows or steel plates sealed up, or there's different ways to essentially like lessen their electrical use and heating costs, pretty much. So it's a very active job. A lot of times he has to crawl through some pretty nasty stuff, or get into very tight, small spaces and things like that, and still be able to work in there. So, he's hurting from with that arm, and he's like, I can't do anything with this arm. Like, it's horrible. So, I mean, I understand his need to hurry, but it was just kind of like, you've been dealing with it for 2 weeks. Like, you're going to get seen faster and get better care if you just call your doctor's office, which I got to text him and remind him to call his doctor's office, so that way hopefully he can get in tomorrow. But I told him, just making an appointment for in between the kids' appointments for doctors, so that way, you can get in and see it. You're already off anyway, so what the heck's the difference? So, yeah. That's going on, and because we were at we showed up at the ER at like, right around 11 o'clock. And we were there until about 1:30, when he had given up, and like, it was just kind of funny because he was just like, Psh, I'm out. And he just got up and walked out, and then he was pretty mad, so I'm glad he didn't snap at the poor receptionist, because she didn't know. And just said, you know what, I'm not waiting any longer, take me off the list. And just kind of walked out the door. He was done. And by the time we got up to the restaurant he wanted to eat at, it was around about 2 o'clock or so. We left there about 3 o'clock. Got home here about 4 o'clock. Made dinner for everybody. Everybody ate. And then I sat here, and that's whenever I did, like, the majority of this was stitched yesterday. Most of this tail was stitched yesterday. There was, I think I got one color done Friday. I think I got another color done, maybe like 1.5 colors done Saturday, and then like the rest of this was stitched yesterday after chilling out. And I went to bed at, I think it was 9 o'clock last night, right around 9 o'clock last night. I'd had enough. So yeah, normally I would almost have this thing finished, but I'll probably, as long as Vincent is having a good day today and he's not being a wild crazy man, I can probably finish this today if I work really, really hard, or I can get it as close as possible, and I'll be able to finish it, first thing tomorrow morning. But we shall see, because it's not what I have. There's like flowers here. I think it's flowers. I can't remember. I think it's like a bushel of flowers here. Finish the strap here. Finish the strap over here. Her hair and her head. And then I gotta finish this inner border here. And then there's not a whole lot of back stitching. There's a little bit of back stitching along here with some beads and Krennic stitches, random stitches here. Of course, all the back stitching here, and then there's a little bit in her face and her hair, and then that's it. But it's not a ridiculous amount. As long as I should be able to get all of the regular stitching and probably back stitching done today if I work really hard, as long as it's not a difficult day. And then tomorrow I can just do there's not a whole lot of beading that needs done, but it's enough. What is down here? Okay. But anyways, that is my plan for today. And it is now almost 10 o'clock. So I gotta get off here. I gotta get things done and get to finishing crap. So that way I can sit down here and finish this bugger. I had another nail break. This poor little pinky nail. At least that one wasn't too bad though. And that's the end of it. But anyways, I will talk to you guys next week. I'm going to be, I think, Wednesday. I shouldn't have Vincent. I believe the kids still all have school. Wednesday, I will probably record my whip parade for the year. I'm going to post that on New Year's Day. I don't care what day of the week it is, but that will be that video for that week. And I want to record it now while I don't have to worry about everybody else in this house getting in my road. So I want to record that Wednesday and get everything edited and ready to go, so that way on January 1st you guys have something to watch if you're not working and busy doing things with family and things like that. Maybe post it Christmas or New Year's Eve. I don't know. But we will see. But I want to have this finished. And that's that. Anyways, I will see you guys next week. Bye.